Hello, fellow blog readers. This is my very first video blog or vlog. I apologize for the very terrible lighting situation I have going on here. It's very dark and dreary outside, but hopefully the next time when I do my next video, it can be a little bit brighter and I don't have to focus on these fluorescent lights here. Alright, so I decided that I wanted to do a vlog for my first time because I've had a lot of very frequent repeated questions with my posts, and I'd love to be able to kind of tackle those all in one spot. And because you all know, I'm sure, that I love to ramble on in my posts, I decided to ramble on in my words instead. So hopefully this will be a little bit shorter than a 6,000 word blog post would be to answer all these questions. One thing I do want to mention is how much I love how many questions you guys ask. I love answering them. I love hearing, that you're enjoying the posts and that they're getting you thinking about things and you want to learn more. I will obviously help you to the extent of my knowledge. I'm not an expert yet, but I hope to be in the future, and I love that you can support me on that. And yeah, so here we go with some of my most common questions. Now feel free at the end of this to post in the comments any questions that I might have forgotten that you're just burning inside to know, and I will tackle them in my next one. So some of the most common questions I've gotten so far include things like lower ab training, how do I get rid of my muffin top, healthy eating out and tips for that. What else? A couple of my favorite exercises. How do I stay eating the way that I do when I'm with family or when I'm eating out, etc. And where does my motivation come from? How do I get up so early in the morning and hit the gym, at when the birds are singing in the morning? Those types of things. So to start off, let's start off with lower abs. Since everyone, beach season's coming around and everyone's obsessed with abs. So I'm known at my gym as the core queen. I tend to do a lot of core work, and it's not necessarily all for aesthetics, although obviously aesthetics are in there as well. But I fully believe that your core is like your trunk, for a tree. It's your foundation. It's your core element of your body that will allow you to push through movements a lot easier and safer. Now, your core is something, obviously, it's meant to protect your spine. So I fully believe that your core should be a very integral part of your training. And a lot of people neglect it because they hate training core. They believe that there's only sit-ups and, boring bicycle crunches or whatever else is the traditional core training exercises. But there's a lot more out there to it. Now, to tackle the question specifically on the lower abs, a really good statement that I actually heard from Rob Riches, and it didn't occur to me until he actually mentioned it, but it makes sense, was that when you look at your abs or your core, when training them, it seems like whenever your movement is moving the hips upwards, what you're going to be doing is targeting your lower abs. Versus, on the other hand, if your hips are above your shoulders in any way and you're lifting your shoulders up towards your hips, that's going to be more working your upper abs. And when I thought about that, I was like, oh, that actually does make sense. I can't really think of any exceptions off the top of my head. But when you think about it that way, any movement where you're going to be bringing your knees to your chest, your feet up in the air, like your legs raising at any point in time, are going to be really great for your lower abs. So those are a couple of exercises that you can use. So leg raises, hanging leg raises, knee ups, so bringing your knees to your chest. What else? Leg raises on a decline bench, for example, or reverse crunches. All of these things are bringing your hips up towards the chest, and therefore they're going to be really working those lower abs. Now, these are great for building lean muscle in that area, but as we all know, lower abs don't just come from working them out. Okay, adding weighted exercises to your routine is a great thing to do once you get the form down pat and making sure that your back is not doing much of the work at all, because that can cause some lower back pain. But once you get the technique down, you can start adding weight, and that is a great way to add some lean muscle mass in that area. But what we do know is that there is always going to be a layer of fat tissue over your abs, which will make them not visible if you're not looking at your diet. So they always say, I don't know if you've heard the famous saying, abs are made in the kitchen. Whether or not you can see definition in your core region is all dependent on how your diet is. Okay, even little things like bloating can actually cause your abs to be hidden. So taking a look at your diet and cleaning that up, drinking lots of water, making sure you're not taking in any foods that you're sensitive to, can really, really help in showcasing the hard work that you end up doing in the gym. So what you do is you build muscle in the gym, but for abs, you have to show it in the kitchen by eating healthy foods, balanced diet, drinking lots of water to flush all those toxins out, and making sure that you're not making your body sensitive to anything. So if you are allergic to lactose, for example, and you end up having lactose all the time, you're not going to see your abs because your stomach's going to be pretty much inflamed, and it's going to bloat out. Okay, so you're not going to see them. So that is lower abs. I hope that cleared up some stuff there. Kind of a related question to do with, people talking about or asking me, how do I get rid of this? Or how do I get rid of that? So going back to the lower abs, well, how do I get rid of my lower abdominal fat? Or how do I get rid of my muffin top? Again, it's a big thing, has to do with your diet. But of course, I want to tackle the whole idea that you can tackle one area at a time and say, I just want to get rid of fat here. That doesn't work, unfortunately. Your body is genetically made up to store weight the way it wants to store weight. Okay, if you're pear-shaped, it means that you're going to hold a lot of your weight in your hips and your thighs. It's just the way it is. That would be the last area for you to lose weight. So, similarly, in any other area, if you have a lot of weight in your trunk or in your core, this is probably going to be the toughest for you to lose. And there's no way of just working off your core to get rid of that weight. You have to lose weight overall, and your body will decide how much it takes from that area. It's not the best, but that's the way our body works. We cannot fully control where the weight comes off. We can work really hard and we can burn off those excess calories to lose the weight overall off the body, and your body essentially will decide where it loses that fat mass. But you can also obviously help it out by building some lean muscle mass, which will help to pull you in, because muscle is a lot smaller, it's a more dense than fatty tissue. Therefore, if you end up losing fat and building muscle, you're essentially going to get smaller looking. And you could even put on a couple pounds if you put on enough muscle weight. But again, you're still going to be shrinking overall. So I do want to make mention here that the scale is not always your best friend. Okay? Take a look at measurements. Take a look at how you feel, how your clothes feel, how you look in the mirror is the biggest thing you should be looking at. The scale, it's very misleading. You could be building muscle, which is a great thing, and because muscle is more dense and, weighs more, it can cause you to actually weigh more, but be smaller. But because you see that number, you may freak out, and that's not something you want to do. So, do yourself a favor, check the scale, and just take a look at how you feel and how you look in your clothes. So that's spot reducing, and as a general close, since I can't keep my mind and my thoughts straight here, so I ramble off onto random topics. But as a conclusion, there's no such thing as spot reduction. You need to lose weight throughout your whole body, and your body will decide where the fat comes off. You can help to develop some definition in the gym through lifting weights. Other than that, you cannot get rid of one certain area of your body. All right, so let's move on to what are some of my favorite exercises. So I love working out, and it's kind of hard pressed for me to figure out a couple of my favorite ones. But I'll pick a couple, and I'll give you a couple reasons why I like them. So probably my number one, or close to number one, would be my pull-ups. So I think one major reason why I love pull-ups is because it's a great overall workout. Yes, it's great. Obviously, it targets your back, a little bit of your biceps, even your triceps when you're coming down. But it also targets your core. Really, really great. There's so much activation in your core, and it works your entire upper body, as well as having a little bit of cardio in there as well, endurance, to help with your heart. And I just think it's a really great test of your own strength. If you can lift your own body weight, they say that's the ultimate test of a person's strength, is can they lift themselves. You can throw around dumbbells all you like, but if you can't lift your own body weight, well, how strong are you really in terms of practical and real-world application of that strength? So I started off on the assisted machine and eventually worked my way up to, one pull-up all on my own, and that was the biggest, proudest moment ever for me. And then I was kind of plateauing at around 3 or 4 for, a month or so until I had my boyfriend. He actually helped me up with the last couple by helping me up my feet. Can't speak, apparently. By my feet, and that for some reason it skyrocketed me, and I was able to then jump from 3 or 4 reps on my own to doing 7 or 8. And so that was a big thing. I think for the most part it was a confidence thing, knowing that I could do it, and that now I could do this many, and now I just need to continue that. And then I'm doing now to get past a plateau that I'm hitting at around 10 to 12 depending on the grip. I've added in weighted pull-ups, seeing if I can get past my plateau by adding weighted, and then doing every couple weeks I'll just do it for reps and see how many I can get. And if obviously my reps go up, then it means that I'm getting stronger again. So hopefully it continues. But that's one, exercise that I really love. So again, great full body workout, great core work, even some aerobic training in there, and also it's a great test of your strength, and a great dynamic exercise. And what else? Love-hate relationship with leg stuff. Although they're some of my most proudest exercises that I do in terms of how far I've come. I have to say I hate lunges. I hate them so much. They are so painful. But I have to put them in this category because of the fact that, last summer I was doing walking lunges with probably about 25-pound dumbbells on my shoulder. I hold them like this, with the bar down and the dumbbell facing this way. So I started off doing about 25 pounds, and now I'm up to, as a total between the two weights, I'm up to 130 pounds now. So, going from 50 pounds to 130, it's a big jump in a year, and I have to say that when I look back, I'm very proud of how far I've come, despite me really having to push myself to do them, which I do them every leg day because lunges are great. I put them in the same category as squats. Great for activating almost your entire lower body. Slightly different muscles being worked in slightly different ways as squats, but it's still a great overall movement. And especially if you're doing walking lunges, very practical. What else do I like? I've been really loving shoulder workouts lately. And I think one of my new favorites is actually the Arnold press. I just love how it hits the delts, which are your 3 caps here that help support the shoulder. It hits every single portion of the delt and I just love the feeling that I get when I'm doing them. Shoulders have become a lot more fun for me. They were one of those body parts that I really was having a hard time with. It's my lagging body part. When I say that, I mean that it's the one that responds the slowest. I tend to not be able to increase my weights as quickly as anything else with shoulders. They're a lot harder for me, and I feel a lot weaker with them. But because of the range of exercises that I'm now doing for shoulders, I'm actually really, really enjoying them. So that's one of my most favorite workouts of the week and why I put it on a Monday now. So those are a couple of my favorite exercises. I'd love to hear a couple of yours. I think I've probably forgotten at least one or two of them. Yeah. So another common question is, we'll go with how do I stay eating the way that I do when people around me don't. So a very common question is, I'm embarrassed to eat healthier or to live a certain lifestyle when my roommates don't and they make fun of me. Or I get made fun of, or I'm too embarrassed to change or modify my order at a restaurant in front of a whole bunch of people, despite wanting to, and then I feel guilty for what I just ate. Or does your family eat healthy like you do? Okay? So to tackle that last question first, I tend to eat very different from the way my family does. A lot of people would call my diet very extreme. I wouldn't, but of course that's me. I love the foods that I eat, and I have no issue with eating the way that I do. So for me, it's not really a challenge, and I never get embarrassed for modifying things, especially when I'm out. If I'm paying for food, which I don't very often, I want it the way that I want it. And I want to be able to enjoy it and not sit there and be like, ugh, I really wish I didn't have this on my plate, or I really wish I could have had that side dish instead of this. Like, I don't enjoy this. Don't be afraid to change your order. You are paying for the food. They're not going to hate you for making some adjustments, even though you may feel like it. And your friends, although they might poke fun at you, you're eating what you want to eat. When your food comes to the table, if you're enjoying it, that's all that really counts. Okay? So, I exchange at least one or two things on my plate whenever I go out to a restaurant. And I have no shame in doing that. A lot of my friends know that I will do it. I also have allergies as well, so I have to be careful. But, even if I didn't, I would still modify things. I want what I want, and I'm not afraid to ask for it. As far as my family goes, I tend to cook a lot of my own meals, even when I'm at home. And because for the most part, I tend to run on a different, eating schedule. You could say I get hungrier earlier than my parents do, for example, when I go home. I tend to eat before them. We'll still be around, and I will still, go and join them for their dinner when they have dinner at, 8 o'clock at night. I would have eaten my arm off by then if I waited that long. So I've already eaten, so I eat my own food, and I go and I'll cook them something as well when I'm at home. They enjoy the stuff that I make them, but I tend to want a little more complexity in my meals. So I take the time to make them something nice when I'm at home. But overall, they don't tend to eat very similar to me. A lot more basic, I would say. This is not a bad thing. Simplicity is not a bad thing. For them, it works because they're working. And yes, I'm working too, but, on my days off, I will take the time, take the 40 minutes to make sure that I'm having something that I'm really enjoying on my plate. Because I don't get to eat off a plate at dinner as often as I'd like, so I take advantage of that. And no one tends to make fun of me for how I eat. A lot of people are more so intrigued as to what's in Chelsea's bowl today when I bring food to work or anything like that. Food is my fuel. I put food very high up on my importance of to-do tasks for the day to make sure that I'm fueling my body effectively. And especially right now when, weight is an issue for me, I need to make sure that I am getting my food, and I need to make sure it doesn't upset my stomach. and I need to make sure that I have enough, and lastly, obviously, that it tastes good. And for the most part, I make sure my food tastes good, and most people will be more so intrigued than being like, oh, this girl's weird, she brought her own food. And really, I could care less. To be blunt, I really don't care if other people think it's strange that I bring my food around with me. I have allergies, I have needs, and I like my own food best, so that's the way it is. Okay, so basic conclusion of that point, don't be afraid to ask what you want. Don't be afraid about what other people are going to say or going to think. You know, what's important is that it makes you happy and you're enjoying it because you're paying for it. So why sit there in silence and either not eat it or eat it and not enjoy it when you could have just easily asked for something else and enjoyed it 10 times more? It doesn't seem like much of an argument to me or much of a decision. Speak up and don't be afraid to do that. And another thing that goes along with that, if you're going to feel guilty about eating something, save yourself that. I'm not saying that you should ever feel guilty about eating something. Food should not be associated with guilt, which is something I'm working on as well. But, if you know that you don't want to eat something, don't eat it. It's something that I try to get past or through to people a lot because in our current society, we tend to focus a lot on what other people think. And, your friends are not going to judge you harshly for making changes. Your friends are not going to turn their backs on you because you decided to have a side of veggies instead of fries like the rest of them, okay? It's not going to work out that way. You're going to be fine. Your friends may make fun of you a little bit in the beginning, but it's all jokes, okay? They don't really, nothing bad's going to happen, so don't worry about it. Okay. As for eating out, people have often asked me as well some healthy eating tips when eating out at a restaurant. So I tend to check menus out online all the time, especially when I'm going to a new restaurant because I don't want to be surprised. For me, this is a big thing because I have to worry about things that will upset my stomach and my allergies, so I need to make sure there's something on the menu that I can actually eat. And it kind of allows me some prep time in my mind to think of any alternatives or anything I might need to even bring. I don't tend to bring things to restaurants very often, but every once in a while, if there really isn't much and everyone wants to go to this place, then I need to eat something. So I need to make sure that I'm prepared. So check the menu out online. Most menus have nutritional stats. They even have allergen menus as well that they might talk about. And even some restaurants now have these like secret menus, which they won't share publicly unless you ask about them. So that's one perk of looking online, is finding these top secret menus. So that's one thing. Another thing that you could do, again, overall, I would say that when you're going out, you don't do it very often, so don't feel the need to restrict yourself or, say like, oh, I can't eat that, or I'm going to be good, okay? Enjoy yourself. Enjoy yourself to what you like, have what you like, and it's one night, it's not going to kill you, okay? One bad meal is not going to take you off the train, same as one good meal is not going to get you on that train either, okay? So it's all about balance and moderation. That being said, if you really don't want to overindulge, you can pick one indulgence of the night. So, for example, if you like your wine, have your wine, and then keep your meal relatively on the lighter side. Don't have, this super creamy pasta dish with a dessert and bread and wine. Okay, if that's what you'd like, go for it. If you don't want to overindulge, then pick your one indulgent. Pick the pasta dish and don't have your wine. Or pick the dessert and have, a big dinner or entree salad or some fish and some veggies and a healthy carbohydrate source for dinner. It's about picking your options and picking what you're really craving for that meal. What's the thing that you're really, really wanting to eat? Another thing is I always say try to go for something that you wouldn't necessarily cook yourself at home. So if you're looking for something new and exciting, pick that. and make that in your indulgence. Another little tiny tips, if you tend to eat everything off your plate because it's on your plate, restaurants make serving sizes about 3 times too big for the average person. So if this is you and you can't seem to stop without finishing everything on your plate, ask for a to-go box or even just put it on a little side plate. Take some of it off right off the bat so that you don't end up overdoing it and you just finish what's on your plate, what you've left there. So take half of it, put it in a box, out of mind, out of sight, or out of sight, out of mind, and you won't feel the need to eat it all, okay? As far as those leftovers go, I don't tend to take leftovers. I've had my meal out and I'm not going to take it home with me, but that's me. Feel free to take home your leftovers if that's fine with you. I just tend to leave my indulgences at the restaurant. Also, what else? You can ask for sauces on the side. You can switch dressings. Dressing is a big, big thing, okay? Know how much dressing they use in tossing their salads and, sauces, heavy cream sauces that they may put on their steaks or whatever it may be. Ask for those on the side, and then you can put on as much or as little as you like. That way you can control how much sauce is going into your food, and you can make sure that you're not going crazy on those really rich, creamy sauces. Okay, so I think that's everything when it comes to eating out. If you have anything else about eating out that I just can't think of at the moment, then let me know. The last really big thing that I get is motivation. Okay, a lot of people ask me, have I ever skipped the gym? Or what do I do when I'm just feeling like crap in the morning? I just really don't want to get out of bed. Or how do I get myself to the gym for 7:30 in the morning? Well, I will say that I'm a morning person, so that really does help. But in general, I love working out. It's one of the best parts of my day. I love to start off first thing in the morning working out. Yes, I do have my days where I get out of bed and either I'm just sore or I didn't get to bed till super late that night and I'm super tired. But to be honest, I know that once I get there and start going, the adrenaline's going to start to kick in and I'm going to make it through my workout just fine. And I'm going to feel so much happier when I'm done and knowing that I came here and I did it despite feeling icky or tired when I first came in. Your workouts really ignite your energy. So take advantage of that. And if you are feeling tired, it could be even one of the best ways to get you energized for the day. Get the hormones pumping through your veins and just push yourself, get changed. Put your coat on. Drag yourself out the door and just get started. You may grunt and moan and groan when you're starting, but trust me, you'll get that fire. It'll turn on and you'll be able to work through your workout and you'll be so much happier when you're done. And as far as those who have to work out after work in the afternoon, I will say power to you guys. After a long, hard day at work, that's a toughie. I can understand. Just make sure you have your clothes with you. You have a snack with you to eat it on the way to the gym. And always ensure that you love it. Okay? If you don't like lifting weights, you will not go. Pick something you love. I always say this 100 times. Make sure you love what you are doing. Pick a fitness class if you love fitness classes. Do hot yoga if you love yoga. Everything is you're doing something good and beneficial for your body. But don't feel like you need to force yourself to go. That's not healthy either. You either won't go or it'll be something you absolutely hate going to every single day and just, you don't want to dread your exercise. You don't want to dread anything about your life. So don't pick something that you hate just because you feel like it's something you're supposed to be doing. Exercise should be fun. I happen to love lifting weights, so that's what I do. If you, like I said, some people really require classes for their motivation and for their enjoyment. Go do that. There's no shame at all in doing that. And, being in a group atmosphere, that even a greater motivation there because there's so many people who are also loving what they're doing at the moment, and that can be fully motivating all on its own. So enjoy what you do, and take the time to find what you like so that you can look forward to it, and it can be your time. This is your time to de-stress. This is your time to do something for yourself. Love it, and make sure that you can enjoy it and look forward to it every day. All right, so that is, I think, it. I've gone to the half an hour mark, so I should probably cut it off here. Thank you so much for listening to my first video. And again, for the person who kind of shies away from the camera, I hope I wasn't too awkward or terrible for this first one, and hopefully I can do a little bit better on the next one. And I'll try to say a little less the next time, and hopefully we have better lighting. So anyways, feel free to post your comments, and I'd love to hear feedback as to how I did, and also drop those questions. I would love to hear from you guys, and I think this is an effective way to kind of do posts in a quicker, more efficient manner when it comes to questions. So let me know. Speak your mind, and I will answer back. Anyways, have a great rest of your Friday, and I will talk to you soon. Goodbye.